Thursday, December 18th on NASDAQ futures, the mini. So I'm going into this session with a bearish bias. I'm feeling like, the weekly, when I look at the weekly, just kind of floating around in here. I'm kind of expecting a bit of a compression candle. We're at the previous month's equilibrium. Previous month's equilibrium right here. Given the week we are in currently, the week before the Christmas break, we when I look at the daily chart, equilibrium of this range. We did take the previous day low. There is SMT with ES taking the previous day low, but here's this fair value gap that NQ failed to reach into. In addition, ES didn't reach into anything of significance really. Not even the top of this order block breaker, depending on what time frame you want to look at it at. There's this fair value gap here on the daily. There's this volume imbalance. Same thing with YM. YM has all this trend line liquidity right below it. So the daily to me looks more bearish. This push up into the 50% of the previous day candle, it's getting a little far for me for that bearish narrative, but it can push up and still be bearish. There's just so much that I'm seeing for bearish delivery. Here on the 4-hour chart, we have a tailless candle. We have a breakaway gap. We have another gap forming. We have we have equal highs and lows, and then a relative equal high and low. So there's just tons of targets on the higher time frame. On the 1 hour, multiple tailless candles, obviously the same relative equal lows. We're obviously in a general downtrend, and if we look, let's check it out. So yesterday, New York reversed. New York reversed on Monday. So Monday, Tuesday. Let's see here. Wednesday was a New York bullish reversal. And then, so yeah, we've had this pattern. Maybe, so what I was going to say is we have this pattern of these lows forming, and I don't want to just follow patterns, but it is the pattern, if that makes any sense. There's just a lot of reason for it to go lower. Here on the 15-minute, we have a midnight below us, new day opening gap below. London just floated upwards, so there was an Asian manipulation, London continuation. I'm expecting a New York reversal. We have the regular trading hour gap below. There's just a lot of reason to go lower, in my opinion. We shall see, though. I mean, I may or may not even get a trade. I don't know. I don't know what today will hold. We have 1 minute till open, and that's part of it, I guess, is having zero expectations, in submitting to the market. Like, that's how we align ourselves with the market. When we're not forcing our will on the market is when we actually align with it, and we start winning a little bit more. Our edge starts playing out. If you ever wonder why sometimes you're, on the profitable side of your system, and then other times you're on the unprofitable side of your system, it's not submitting to, you're not possibly not submitting to the market and what the market's telling you. And part of that is accepting, like, I could be totally wrong here, and the market's kind of telling me it's bearish, so I'm going to go with it. But it can also tell me it's bullish in real time, and then I got to reconsider what I'm doing. And part of that submission is sometimes not acting. Like, if you don't know what it's doing, don't act. All right, so here we got the open. I personally want to see 930 trade up into some more significant level. There's previous week's low. There's this previous month's equilibrium. We have this relative equal high. For me, I can't short anything up in here. This is a previous first presented for value gap. Let's get ES and YM up too, see what they're doing. All right, so everything's moving in sync here. Hmm. I do want to see NQ push up higher, I think. I don't want to see it flip this fair value gap, as nice as it looks. At least size up the trade in case I have to quickly get in. So 2 is 123. Oops, I didn't want to delete that. What's that make 3? 184. Well, I don't have SMT. I don't have the levels I was looking at. Shoot, I think it's going to go. I mean, there's possibly some PD array SMT. This one might be kind of painful to watch. We'll see. Hmm. So here I would have gone break even on this trade. It's past 1R. I guess just wait and see what happens. Either this is my trade and it's going to go without me, or it's going to come up one more level into this liquidity zone, and then I'll get my trade. It's missing two major requirements. I need it to take some significant liquidity. And I need SMT. Looks like it wants to go down. It's going to probably close below, create an order block here. So at this point, I'm imagining it's not going to want to reverse and come back up in here. I'm going to imagine that this is going to be the move. And target acquired. Hmm. There we go. For sure, target acquired. Well, it's cool to see that what I was thinking played out. I think so we are forming bullish SMT down in here. These targets are left. Intact up here. Boy, I just wish I could figure out what I missed. You know, there were two things that didn't meet my criteria. I don't use this previous month's equilibrium specifically as the level because it's not liquidity. And then there was no SMT that I can find. And that happens, right? Like, part of trading. Okay, no SMT, no higher time frame level. Yeehaw. I mean, it didn't even take a 15-minute swing. Well, it took that previous 15-minute candle, or it took the previous 1 hour candle. I guess that might have been the level, the previous 1 hour. But even still, no SMT. So now, just wait. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty bummed about that one. I can let a lot of trades roll off my back. That one was bugging me a little bit, so just being honest here, you know? I think probably because on Monday, I didn't get an entry onto my winning trade. And now today I didn't get an entry. Like it didn't meet the requirements. Like it did exactly what I thought it was going to do, near what I thought it was going to do. It gave me the 3R. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's the possibility for bullish continuation. I don't see bullish SMT. I see a lot of targets to sell side. I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll give me a continuation short. And maybe not. Maybe it won't. I can't force it. Although it's tough, like without it tapping into my levels and giving an SMT, I'm also not stoked about a continuation short. It just kind of reversed in nowhere for the most part. It didn't even touch the equilibrium. Maybe this indicator's off by a tick or two. I don't know. On the weekly chart, I don't see anything. Monthly chart, I don't see anything here. 30-minute chart created equal highs. And maybe that's even the thing, is like this is now an equal high right here with another equal high. So we have relative equal highs all above. And now it's wanting to tempt me with a long setup starting to form. This is a nice candle here. There's no SMT. We're also forming this trend line lows. So here is a tap into a 5-minute. There is SMT here. Here's a, I don't have an inversion. Here's an order block. It's a little slow, I'm not going to lie. If it is the distribution leg, we would want to see a little more momentum than these candles here. You know, 1 or 2 back up is fine, but it would typically be a lot more violent to the downside. You know, it'd be like boom, 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 just these shallow, quick retracements like that. Which it may do. It may pick up speed. It's also lower volume this week, I'm sure. So close below that. Right there, order block, change in state of delivery. Because we had a change in state of delivery right there. Boy, I don't know. Am I too disciplined? I can't tell sometimes, you know? Because here it was like, well, the criteria didn't meet, my gut was like, this is it. There's a lot of trades where they meet the criteria, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And I just take them because that's what my model says to do. But there are a few trades on occasion where it's like, I think this is going to be it, and I think it's going to go without me. But I can't measure that, you know, because it doesn't follow my rules. And I know some people can do that. But I don't know. I don't like not measuring something because then I have no idea what's working. All right, we got 9 minutes until this current 1 hour and 4 hour candles close. Maybe we'll see something in that. We're in the 950 macro currently. So it took this low here. So we're still creating fair value gaps to the downside. All right, it's look like it's going to make an inversion here. There's no SMT. Took a 15-minute low, tapped into a 15-minute gap. There is a 15-minute SMT. These candles aren't looking that pretty though. I'm also not convinced it's bullish either. So this would be a valid 15-minute continuation long. Strong close is what it looks like it wants to do. Also at the previous day equilibrium. Looks like it's going to form a breaker right here. So this one is a valid continuation trade for me. Um, I just don't trust longs. I don't trust shorts either. Like, I would have trusted shorts right up here. And maybe that's enough reason to trust a long because of my targets that I was so confident in wanting to see hit. All right, so go break even probably on this trade. It's 1R. Oops, don't know where that would be, so I'll just leave it. Oh, right, I got to allow for a retest. So I would leave my stop loss until it retested and then moved to 1R. Hit the 1R mark already. Four minutes left on this candle. My rule was I wanted to give it a few candles to retest. So I'm not going to like let it consolidate for a long time and then retest. I'd rather be out. But just in case like the second or third candle came, did a quick pop and retest, then I would allow that. Everything's moving in sync. And that's nice to see. With them moving in sync, it makes me feel like how they're moving is their intended direction. When they start decoupling, that's when you can kind of expect that the decoupled move is a fake move. All right, so this is closing above this as an order block. I'll go break even. I would go. I'm not going. I'm not in the trade. It's starting to build some trend line down in here. All right, we got less than a minute left on this candle, this 1 hour candle, 4 hour candle. It's looking like the 15 minutes going to close bullishly. Lately, I've seen a few times where it comes right shy of my zone and reverses. So that's why wasn't totally convinced that this would be a winning continuation trade, because 2 or 3 times it's been like this, comes up near the zone, and then it just changes direction for the day, for the session. Those all had SMT. This did not have SMT. And maybe that's one reason why I could have trusted the long a little bit more. It was at least backed by SMT, whereas this was not sponsored by SMT. All right, so the current 1 hour candle closed bullishly. But I really would expect some kind of retracement. There's just several 4 hour gaps below, and it doesn't have to. It can do whatever it wants. The 4 hour did close an inversion. But it keeps, yesterday it closed above and formed an inversion, but it still failed in the end. see if it hits the TP on this long. I got nothing to do for the next few minutes because I am not in a trade or nothing. If anything, I might wait to see if it comes up in here and does something for me. So I'll be back in 5. Go figure. So I got my breakfast, but I was kind of wondering, here's this. And still no SMT. So this long would have been break even. Here's an inversion, but there's no SMT at these highs. So yeah, it's just not doing what I would have hoped for today. I mean, I could have shorted up here if it took that high. And I don't even see if maybe there's a 5-minute level. No, not really. I don't know. 15 minutes kind of starting to look like a barcode, which it's got some nice movement. We can see that these reversals are giving at least a little bit of something. You know, if you were a 2R trader, this would have been a W. For me, it would have been not a W. And maybe this is what I was saying the other day is being December and lower volume, maybe reducing your expectations are important, which means not targeting so far like 3R, maybe 2R or 1R. But for me in my system, it requires 3R. So I shouldn't trade conditions that aren't giving 3R. So I don't know. We'll wait for another couple candles. So if you look at the 15-minute chart, it's starting to form this barcode. So we'll see if it keeps going. 5-minute chart, still in a range. We're in the opening range still. Opening range being here, here. I keep having to tell myself that not taking this short means way more than the P&L in my account. That showing myself that level of discipline and integrity with my word that I'm going to stick to my rules means so much more to my inevitable success in the future than the $500 I would have put in this account taking that trade by breaking my rules. And that's part of the game here is in life too, not just in trading, but in life. I have a belief reframing script that I go through, and I've used it hundreds of times in the last 4 or 5 years. And anytime I feel something or think something negative, like the missing this setup, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed it because, well, I can and I can't because, like, it didn't follow my rules. The one on Monday followed the rules. Um, I just didn't get an entry. And if I'd been like one candle earlier, I could have gotten my entry. And so in that case, that one I was pretty bummed I missed it. And you can either go throughout your day feeling that way. So, like, let's say you're bummed you missed the trade. You might start building up and maybe even a almost imperceivable degree of FOMO. You're like, oh, I missed that one, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it today. I know I'll get a setup. I'll get the trade. And even if you're not telling yourself that, your subconscious might be. And often what I try to do is I try to reframe it very quickly. The moment I notice anything I feel negative about, upset about, sad about, I would reframe it. And I'd quickly reframe it to be like, man, I was so right on the draw on liquidity. I was right on the price reversing here. I was right on the timing. I was right about all these things. And being right about all these things means you know, I'm a good trader. And so both are true, right? Both beliefs are true. Which one do you focus on? Do you focus on the missing the opportunity and the missed P&L? Or do you focus on how you were so close and so right? And you just need to maybe either tweak what you're doing a titch, maybe it's a lesson in there, or maybe you just chalk it up to you don't get every trade. Like, which feels better, you know? And I do that in my life too when I have any thoughts about myself or my things, the way things are going in my life, is I go through this script and it's got a series of questions and prompts that help you identify what's real about it, what's not real, so what's true and what's not true, right? Like factual true, factually true, um, versus made up in your head. And it prompts you to write an alternative version of the story that's in your head. So now you have two versions to pick from. And then you can look at these two versions and say which one feels better. And you get to choose from which of these beliefs do you think you'll more likely have the desired outcome that you want sooner, you know? Like, I remember earlier on in my trading career, I would get so frustrated if I missed a couple of trades. And especially in like trading, it can take forever. For many of us, it can take forever, or so it seems, for another model to appear. Um, it might be the next hour, it might be the next session, it might be the next day. I've gone multiple days without taking a trade because it just didn't look good or look right or didn't even present itself. I think I've even gone like 3 days where I didn't see a model at all. And so previously in my trading, I would notice that would start to build up in me, and then I would kind of get click happy and want to just enter trades that were subpar because it was good enough and I hadn't taken a trade in a day and a half or 2 days. And that never turned out very well for me. And that all stemmed from like, I can't believe I missed two trades and now there's none of them and I'm all frustrated. You know, like, had I just taken those two trades earlier in the week, then I would be up on the week. Whatever the story was in my head, to be like, well, there's a different one that feels better, that will help you to act in a way that further aligns with your goal. You'd be like, no, I didn't miss those. It's all good. Another trade will come. Being, break even on the week or flat on the week is part of trading. Like, and then what'll happen is on Friday, a killer setup will appear. You'll take it. You'll be up 3R at the end of the week, even though you took only one trade on Friday. Whereas in the previous scenario, you ran your account down on Wednesday and Thursday, taking 3 losses, right? And then now on Friday, you have lost PTSD and you think you're on a losing streak, so you don't take the winning trade on Friday. Like, that's how it works. That's how we create our own reality. And look at this. So here, they're just stuck in this opening range. Still. Cool. I mean, I guess it is a few days before, holiday week. Look at the 15 minutes, still barcoding. Eggs. I love eggs. I eat tons of eggs. There's nothing in here I can trust. I needed to go somewhere. I needed to come up here. I needed to go down there. I needed to do something before I can do anything. And today's Thursday, isn't it? One of the things I do, if you heard me drawing on my desk, um, my day is blocked out into half-hour and 1-hour increments. So this whole sheet is everything I'm supposed to do in a day. And I've been slacking a little bit because you can see I gotta fill it in some actually more, but down here at the bottom it's missing some check marks. But it's how I stay, like in my world, it's just kind of nebulous. Like I don't have to do anything other than just trade. For the most part, like no one's sitting here telling me to go to work. And it's been that way for years. And I've struggled with trying to keep on task. And it's so easy to be like, when you're, work for yourself and you don't have any pressures of like meetings and clients and things and deadlines to keep on track. And so my life's always been very nebulous and just floaty. Like yesterday, I was like, man, I really need to water some of our fruit trees in the garden and stuff because it hasn't snowed. And even though it's winter, they still need some water if it's not snowing. And it's like, oh, it's nice out. It's like 57 degrees out yesterday. And so lunch after lunch, as opposed to going into whatever my schedule said, backtesting, I think, I was like, well, it's nice out, and I went and I watered something. And so I kind of broke my um, outline for the day. And the schedule is titled Discipline Over Dopamine. And that was something I needed to do. So it's not necessarily me just screwing around. But nonetheless, I use this to really keep track of my days. It keeps me in line in terms of if I'm getting off track. I can track how much I get off track, if it was relevant or not. And then I can look back. I have an entire several years worth of these at this point. I think I've been doing this for 2 years. And it's really kind of helped me become more efficient and really. All right. So we're taking some of this liquidity that I was eyeballing. We have SMT at these highs. We've taken the previous hour high. I want to see it come up into here. I'd like to see a little bit of downward price action, maybe something like this, a push up, and then that. I might be interested in something like that. That way I can, I want to be able to see that there's a breaker here, ideally, like this. I like all these gaps right here, targets. So we have all these local targets. We have these relative equal lows, which are a very high probability target. So it's a whole story that picture that I'm painting. Where is it? Relative equal high low. The higher time frames have so many targets below. And then locally here, we also have so many targets below. Now I don't want to see this gap get inverted, because then it's just shenanigans. I do want to see it come up into this 1 hour fair value gap, 4 hour fair value gap, take this 4 hour liquidity pool that's right above. It has taken the 4 hour, previous 4 hour high, but I want to see that liquidity pool swept. Yep, just like that. We have maybe a volume imbalance there. And then we have these, I would consider these more relative equal highs, relative equal lows than anything, because we kind of have these two and then this one all floating around in the same zone. So yeah, I do want to see a nice push. I want to see another gap form. The SMT indicator is picking up the SMT right there. Now, it is entirely possible NQ does not want to do what I expect it to do because of its lower volume. But if it does exactly what I want it to, then I'm more willing to put up the risk now. We had these relative equal highs formed. They're not on the chart. I can't scroll out on the 1 minute. But trust me, there's a high right over here on the sell side of the curve over there. And then this one right there. So we did have these relative equal highs. which was kind of the only main reason why I was slightly interested in this long here. And I mean, had this candle closed above this inversion, it would have been 3R. Now it's starting to slow down a little bit here. I want to see it push up pretty quickly. There's a tiny fair value gap here. It's not good enough for me. So that 1 hour high has now been taken. There's a 1 hour fair value gap slightly above, so the consequent encroachment of that gap is, let's find out. $372.50. And now we have a 4 hour gap above as well at 361. All right. What does she do? Now they are starting to they're not synced. I noticed why, there's SMT YM is not climbing the same, kind of making me a little suspicious of this move here. We shall see. That's an okay fair value gap inversion, or it will be could be an inversion, doesn't have to be. So here we tapped the 4 hour, then we tapped the 1 hour. Previous week's low. There's SMT forming. Oh, wow. Well, now there's no gap. Look at that candle. Like in the last little second, I was looking over here. Okay, well. I guess we're not shorting that. The last level is going to be 397.50. So that's the top of this fair value gap. I could still potentially take an inversion if it's formed in this area up in here. Totally possible I'm off sides too. And then it's just one stage delivery all day. All right, we're losing the SMT. Well, that's interesting. Why did right, risk reward. Oh, they flipped them. I keep forgetting that. I still haven't adjusted. I know they did it a long time ago. They've flipped the risk and reward. And sometimes when I'm going quickly, why aren't they changing? All right, back to the charts. Do we have any SMT now? No. Not that I can find at the moment. At least not confirmed. So here is a 15-minute SMT, but depending on how these candles close, it's not going to confirm. Um, And then for me, if it's not here, there's no short for probably the rest of the day. Which it's not looking like there will be. It'll leave all of this juicy looking liquidity for later. All right, so closed above this candle, it's going to keep going. That's my guess. So this 1 hour fair value gap has been balanced. We can see here. And then beyond that, it's pretty much there's no short until the previous day high. That's a long ways away. And this is as deep in this premium as I would want it to go to short it until a major liquidity pool like the swing was swept. So yeah, interesting day. It's definitely a little more bullish than I thought, but that's how it is. Here on the 4 hour, you know, these 4 hour candles are pretty bullish. Here's this gap still below that's forming. You know, this 4 hour candle, it can look bullish and then just turn around and slap everybody silly. I've seen that more often than you'd think. Like here's another example. This reversal came, here's this gap. It even closed above and then just slapped on all the longs. Like, look at that. Similar. That's kind of what I'm expecting today too. Just slapping some of these longs. It's just building so much liquidity down there. I'm liking this less. We're starting to build some trend line right there. And we don't have confirmed SMT. They're decoupling a little bit, just a little bit. It's not really a V-shaped recovery, a V-shaped impulse. We are forming bearish 15-minute SMT, but it's forming, it's not confirmed. I don't like it. This is just too slow. All right, so I guess I gotta decide what I want to do, if it's closing below this or not. I don't trust it. What's the time? 48. It's not even in my macro, so there's a lot of reasons not to take that trade. It might play out like it totally could just run without me. But I'm not willing to put up risk on that. The only other thing to maybe do, let's do this real quick. is if this were a long, how would I feel? I mean, it looks juicy. It swept some lows. It's got so many targets. It just looks like it wants to consolidate though. And that's not what I want to see after sweeping liquidity. So here's a 3-minute gap, closed below. All right, so we're inside the macro. If this thing dumps without me, I'm shutting it down. I'll have to go talk myself up as to why I'm being disciplined. So now it's macro is not a concern. The trend line liquidity is a concern. The slowness is really a concern for me. It's not V-shaped. But the higher time frame suggests to me that it's going to want to sink. Could be totally wrong though. I'm just a guy waving at candlesticks. Not looking good for this short. Cool. So I think at this point, I'm pretty convinced I'm not interested in trading right now. I'm okay with this going without me. Now we're creating this quad relative equal high. So the most valid trade that I had today was this long off of this inversion. That was the only valid trade I have, and it wouldn't have given me 3R. So I would have been break even on that one trade. Came down, wanted come down into this zone. No position is a position too. I think this thing is going to sink without me. I still do. I think I might do some fuckery up in here first, but I do think it's going to come down. So I don't have a trade in this here. I'll keep my eye on the charts. Like that's what I do when I shut down the stream. It's like sometimes it's kind of pointless. It's like I can tell it's not going to do anything I want it to do in the near future. So it's pointless for me to sit here for another 20, 30 minutes with nothing to do. So I tend to take a break, go do something, go outside for a minute, get some sun, hot tub, something like that, and then come back and I'll keep an eye on the charts. And if it looks like it does something I like, then maybe, but it's actually quite rare I take a trade and I'm not on stream. But today, my expectations were not met, and that's okay. It was still, getting in the reps, right? 10,000 reps like I'm doing in my backtesting session. Even if you're not trading, it's still getting in reps. It's time in front of the charts, time with the candlesticks. And they tell you things, so this might not have put money in my account, but it taught me things, and that will put money into my account in the future. Oh, look, it's looking like it wants to go dumpy. We shall see. Like all these trades, they keep not going to 3R. Well, one of them did, but so yeah, days in the chart, sessions in the chart, those are reps too. And not trading is a rep too, because that's something that's a skill we have to practice. Otherwise, you're just a gambler and you'll never make it. So, reps of discernment. maybe I'll start a hashtag movement, reps of discernment for traders. All right, I'm done. I'm logging off. I'll be probably streaming tomorrow. Might as well. I guess it's Friday. It'll be the last day I stream for this month probably. So